Hi, everybody. My name is Michaela. I am from Middleburg, Florida. My business is Paint Fixation. If you're in the area, you want to come see where I sell my paint. I sell at Dixie Belle at the. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to see if I'm on. Okay, let's start over again. Okay. Hi, Dixie Belle. Okay, so I sell my paint and inside Antiques for You on Blanding Boulevard, 801 Blanding Boulevard, and I'm so excited because I'm getting ready to double my space. So if you're in the Jacksonville area or Middleburg or Orange Park, please come see my new space. It's very exciting. I'm going to be able to get more products in there. Hi, Pam. Okay, so we get some people in here. So tonight I wanted to kind of go back to basics. We are at Dixie Belle have so many new products. Would You Bend, the resin, molds, Prima redesign. There are so many things from A to Z. If you want to use Dixie Belle, you will get it. I mean, if you were on the fence about trying it, just do it because it's a one-stop shop. You can get anything you need from the beginning to the end. And because we have so many new products, we've been having a lot of videos on the new products. So I thought I would just go back to basics and show you how to start painting a piece, how to go to the thrift store. This is where I got this piece. These pieces are actually from my new display. And anytime, Pam, you come see me. So, hi, Wendy. So I got a new display, and I did not want to use the doors on it. So I'm going to use these doors to show you the basics on when you get your new piece, how to start it from the start, very start. So the first thing you're going to want to do is decide when you get so this is just a door off of a cabinet. Okay, so we have our hardware. Do you want to paint your hardware? I like painting my hardware. I like the way it looks. I like to add wax and glaze to it. Not everybody wants to do that. You want to keep the original hardware the color it is. Give it a good clean. If you're going to clean it and reuse it the way that it is, you just need to take it off with a drill and make sure you put it aside. I like to put them in a baggie or in a little Tupperware container so that I make sure I don't lose any of the pieces. And if you don't use your hardware, if you're going to use new hardware, always keep your hardware because you never know when you're going to need that particular piece. In fact, I just saw where someone had one in a drawer that they had kept in their hardware and they needed one piece, and it happened to be the one she needed. So always save your hardware if you're not going to use it. Now, any questions that you have, Dixie Belle might come on here and answer them for you. If they are not able, I will be going back after the video and I'll answer all your questions. So let's get started. So the first thing, I brought two doors in here because I just wanted to show you one of the things that you might have to do when you're starting out. First, we clean it. And I'm going to do that I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay, so I have another door here that I've already taken the hardware off. I used my drill, got them off there, and I'm going to show you how I clean. I usually wear gloves, but I forgot to bring them in here. If I was going to do a whole piece, I would use gloves just to keep my hands from getting all nasty. So the first thing that I use is White Lightning, and that's a wonderful product that we sell, and this is the container that it comes in. It is very economical, and I cannot find my glasses to read it. Darn it. Okay, we're going to have to hold it out here. So there's 8 ounces. It's a dry product, and you're going to mix it in warm water, 2 heaping tablespoons to a gallon. And I put it in my spray container so that it's easier for me to use it. So what I use is a green scrubby because it's non-abrasive. You don't always need to sand your piece. Sometimes you just want to get it good and clean. So I'm going to lower this camera down just a little bit so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I might chop my head off, but I can see the comments still. Thank you for the comment on my hair. My hairdresser's Leanne Pitts from Phoenix Sweet. She's wonderful. Okay, I know you can't see me, but I'm going to just show you what I'm doing. Okay, so here's my White Lightning mixture. I'm just going to give it a little shake. Get it all on there. Okay, and if your piece is really grimy, you might have to do this more than once, but this piece is actually pretty clean considering that it's very old. This piece was not in good condition at all, and I needed a piece for my new display that was really wide, and I didn't want to spend a lot, and I got this beautiful big piece for 30 bucks. So, you know, sometimes you find something, you think that it's unsalvageable, but you might surprise yourself. You can make anything look good again. Hi, Amy. Thanks for joining me. Okay, so I've got a good scrub now. I'm really getting in the grooves here. Now, if you have a piece that's particularly dirty and your grooves are grimy, you can use you could use a dental pick even, or a stiff brush to clean out the cracks, okay? Just make sure that you get it good and clean with your White Lightning, and then you always go back and rinse it off. So this is just my spray bottle. It's just water. I'm going to get it all rinsed, okay? Making a big mess. Now, if your piece is really dirty, when you get the water on there, you will see the dirt. You can see it. This is kind of got a nice golden hue to it. Dixie Belle's White Lightning, I love it because it deglosses your piece in addition to cleaning it. And what that means is you don't always have to go back and sand it, okay? If you have a really shiny, thick polyurethane or other type of finish on the piece of furniture, you might need to go back and do a light scuff with 220 grit sandpaper. But for the most part, the White Lightning deglosses it enough so that you can go right to painting. And that's one of the things I love about Dixie Belle. Now, sometimes, because I'm old school, I'll still go on there and give it a little scuff if I think it looks like it needs it. Now we've got this all cleaned off. And I don't know if the camera will show the difference, but you can kind of see it's not as, let me see if these two pieces together, if I can show how shiny the one is. If you can, it's hard to tell on the camera, but this one has a duller finish on it now. So this is ready for paint. Now, one of the things I did want to show you was another product that we carry. This piece that I showed you earlier, it has some gouges in it, okay? And because I am painting this, I can fix these with no worry. I'm not staining it, so I'm painting it. So for these little pieces here, what I would use is Dixie Belle mud. And it comes in a container that looks like this. Mine's kind of messy. That's Dixie Belle mud. This is white. It comes in 3 colors, white, brown, and I think black. Dixie Belle, correct me if I'm wrong on that one. Pretty sure. White, brown, and black. And you use it just like you would any other wood filler. But the amazing thing about this is this sands down like butter. It's a dream to work with, I have to say. You would just use your spatula, okay, plastic or metal, and you would just scoop out a little bit. Here, I'll just do a little bit on here. Sometimes seeing is easier than hearing it. So you just take out a little bit of your mud, okay, just a little bit, and you're just going to scrape it right in there and take off any excess, okay? I'm sorry, I have a hard time talking and working at the same time. Okay. And these little pieces, that's a little bit of a gouge right here. So I'm actually gonna just take my finger since it's on this edge and work it in there. Now, can you see that? Okay. Now I'm gonna set this aside. Dixie Belle mud dries pretty quickly. After it dries, you would just take a light sandpaper, 220 grit is usually what I use, and sand it down smooth. And I have to tell you, it sands down so nicely. I love this stuff. You can also use the Dixie Belle mud for raised stencils, but that's another video. Okay, so we've got this piece cleaned and wiped off. You want to make sure you get all of your white lightning off. And this one doesn't have any gouges in it. It does have a little, looks like it does. It has little places, but those aren't gouges. They're just blemishes. Okay? Now, the color I chose to do tonight is Kudzu. It's a beautiful green, but I want to try and do a little something with the wax afterwards if we have time. And so I wanted to try something other than white. Okay. So I've got my little piece here. Hey guys, Mississippi, Texas. Okay. So I'm going to put a little bit of the paint in here. I'm going to use the Dixie Belle Mini. Love this brush. I love the size. It's perfect for my hand. Now, this brush is dry and you want to work with a damp brush, okay? The paint will move much easier. It gives a nice finish to it. You don't want it to be wet, just damp, okay? You can also lightly dampen your piece if you want to, depending on how you want to work. I like to dampen my brush first, and then if I feel like I need to, I'll go and do my piece as well. Now, I didn't show you, but I barely put anything on my brush, and it is covering so nicely. Some of the colors are thicker than others, so they will have to be thinned down more or use a little bit more water on your brush. But this Kudzu is kind of the perfect consistency. I love this color. Okay. All right. Now, I can feel the paint pulling a little bit, and so I'm just going to give my brush a little mist. And you can see how it's just moving so much better. I'm trying to keep track of the comments and paint at the same time, but I'm not a great multitasker, so forgive me if I missed your question. I promise to get back to you if Dixie Belle misses you. Now, I'm not going to do this whole piece on the edges and stuff because we don't have time. I do want to try and get the whole top of it done. Dixie Belle paint does dry very quickly, so if you're working on a piece like a dresser or like this piece was a beast. It's 84 inches wide and 6 feet tall. By the time you are done with your first coat, you can just about go back and start your second coat again. So it's a wonderful product to work with. And I'm not just saying that. I really, really mean it. I love it. It paints like a dream. Okay. Now, we've got all the edges done. I'm going to do the center here, and I'm going to mist my brush a little bit more. Anytime I feel the paint pulling a little bit, and once you start working with it, you'll understand what I'm talking about. You'll be able to feel the difference in the way that your brush pulls against the piece. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, but the way I like to do it is I go with the grain of the paint. And so if it's going this way, and then after I do the outside, I do the inside. Now, I don't know if everybody does outside first and then inside. That's just the way I do it. I don't really think there's a right way or, well, there probably is a right way and a wrong way, but I do it my way because that's the way I like doing it. I'm open to different things, but it's just the way I've always done it. Okay. Now, that's my first coat. And you can see it's still drying. Check the sound. Can you not hear me? Are y'all hearing me okay? I'm just going to keep going just in case. Now, I'm going to use my hair dryer to dry this a little bit just for the sake of the video because we only have 45 minutes. Normally, I would not do this. It's going to get a little bit loud, but it will only take a second. All right, and just like that, it's dry. Okay, thanks, Wendy. This is kudzu. It's a really pretty green. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do a second coat. Missed my brush. Now, some of the Dixie Belle colors, you can get away with one coat, depending on your piece. Now, if I was using a lighter color like drop cloth or sawmill gravy, and I had to sand any of this, like the part over there that I had to fix, then I would want to put some Boss on top of that so that we wouldn't have any bleed through. Okay, this is Boss. And what that does is it helps prevent any of the tannins in the wood from coming through. Now I'm going to miss the actual piece this time and kind of reactivate the paint that's on there a little bit so that it blends together. So that's what I usually do. After I get my first coat on, I'll lightly mist it. And then the top coat, it's almost like they just kind of meld together. And you get this beautiful finish. Okay. You see that? This is the 2 coats, and that's 1 coat. Okay, someone's asking me about painting it in the kitchen or the bathroom. Okay, I personally have used this in my bathroom, and because Dixie Belle does not need to be sealed, I did not seal it. I wanted to see how it held up. I put a little bit of wax in the cracks just to give it a little bit of an antique look, but for the overall piece, I did not put any top coat. It has worn beautifully. I got lipstick on it, and if you know the lipsticks that are out there now, they don't come off or anything. And I scrubbed it with Simple Green, and it took my lipstick off, but did not take off the finish. Now, in a kitchen, I would use Gator Hide, which is our water-resistant top coat. I've done a couple of kitchens with Gator Hide, and it wears very, very well. In your kitchen, the most important thing, well, with any furniture, but in the kitchen, you have so many unseen oils, from your fingers, opening and closing cabinets, to grease splatter from your stove. So the most important thing, if you're going to do your kitchen, is to clean it well. Get your white lightning, get your green scrubby, and scrub it. You should almost spend as much time cleaning it as painting it, because it doesn't matter what top coat you put on the paint. If you don't prep it well, your paint will not adhere. That's just the bottom line. I don't care what you put on it. You have to have a good base in order for the paint to wear. If you get a good base, your kitchen will be beautiful for years and years. Once this paint cures, which usually takes 21 to 30 days, it is stuck like glue. Okay? If your kitchen cabinets are laminate or some other non-porous material, metal, there are some metal kitchens out there still, you need to use Slick Stick first. And Slick Stick is this product here. And what this does is this is a binding primer, and this will help to grab the paint when you paint it. Okay. Look at that beautiful color. Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay. I'm going to stand up because I can't see every little spot. Okay. I'm just getting the little parts I can't see from my position. All right. And so just like that, this is painted. Now, I could leave it just like it is. It's not quite dry yet. But Marcia says she's using the gator hide in a beauty salon. That tells you how great it is. I'm going to dry this one more time, so forgive the noise. Someone asked why you spritz it with water, your brush or your piece. The paint is pretty thick, and so what the water does is it just helps to give you a nice even finish, and also it helps the paint to go further. So you could do a average size dresser with 8 ounces of paint. Okay, there's not too many paints out there that you could do that with. But with Dixie Belle, you use a little bit of water and it does not take much, then you will, your paint will go so much further. I mean, I think I probably used maybe a tablespoon or maybe 3 tablespoons to do 2 full coats on this whole door. Okay, and that's not a small door. Like I said, this piece is a beast. This is kudzu, Leanne, kudzu. On raw wood, do you need to prime? It would depend. You would not need to use Slick Stick. No, you might need to use Boss if the wood had tannins in it. Dixie Belle, you can correct me on that if I'm wrong about that. But if it were me and it was raw wood, and I felt like I was using a light color, and I would probably use Boss on that. Okay, and Boss comes in clear and in white, depending on how you're painting. If you want to sand back to the wood, you would use the clear. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, now Dixie Belle, like I said, is a self-sealing paint. So I could just leave it like this, okay? And in 20 to 30 days, 21 to 30 days, it would be cured, because being dry and being cured are two different things. So I could leave it like this. If you like the matte look and the chalky finish, you could leave it like this. But I wanted to show you one other thing. Let me check my time. Okay. I'm going to use the Clear Coat Satin. It's one of our top coats. It's a real thick top coat. So if you get this and you open it and you think, oh boy, that looks really thick, then you don't worry about it. That's just the way that this product is. It's thicker than Gator. It's thicker than any of the other top coats. It's just kind of, I would say it's not as thick as pudding, not as thick as curdled milk. All right, I'm going to do only half of this, okay? So I'm going to use my, this one is a flat medium brush. And if you're not using Dixie Belle brushes, you need to go out and get one right now. These brushes, just like the paint giving such a nice finish, the brushes make so much difference. And I'm talking about, I have so many brushes from so many different companies, and I've got to say, these are by far my favorite brushes. And I have the synthetic and the natural bristles. The natural bristles are so good for blending. And we actually have a new brush that just came out. Mine should be in the next day or two. It is a French tip natural bristle brush, and they are so good for blending. Okay, I'm going to do a very thin coat of the satin clear coat. I'm putting so little on my tips of my brushes. The only thing you want to make sure is that you don't get the product, you don't want it to pool in the cracks. If you have oak cabinets with a clear coat already on them, if you degloss them, you shouldn't have to sand. If you're not sure, you could do a light scuff on them. And if you're using a light color, you may want to use the Boss on top of that. But if you are doing it right on the top, on the clear coat on the oak, and there's no chance of bleed through, you don't need a primer. You just paint right over it. Okay, like this piece, it's not oak. I think it's probably some sort of a rosewood or something. It's a softwood. If you're going to get bleed through, normally it's going to happen after you put on your top coat, and so far, and usually it happens pretty darn quickly. I'm not getting any bleed through at all on this. Okay. Now, can you see the difference in that? Oh yeah, you can see that with the light. So this side has the satin clear coat, and this side is just the Dixie Belle paint, okay? Now, I'm going to use some wax. If I were doing it in the kitchen, I used to be really afraid of wax, so I used to use oil-based waxes, but Dixie Belle's waxes are water-based, and so once they are dry, you can paint over them. So I used to be really leery about using wax, because what if I change my mind, which I do a lot, and I didn't really want to not be able to redo the piece. But with Dixie Belle waxes, once it's dry, you can paint back over it, okay? So in a kitchen, I would not normally use a wax to top coat. That is just my personal preference. But with our wax, you could wax it for the look of the wax, and then you could go back and put your gator hide on top of that. Okay, so you're getting, if you don't want to use a glaze, because some people like the way that the wax works better than glaze. Some people, are glazed people, some people are wax. But I'm going to use wax tonight to show you the difference in how how it reacts with not finished and top coated. Okay? Because when you put the wax on and a piece that's not been top coated, and again, you can still see it's drying, but you can still see that beautiful finish on it. Isn't that nice? But when you wax on a piece that doesn't have a top coat, because it's a chalky, porous finish, it does tend to grab onto the wax more, and it's harder to take it back off. So if you're only wanting a lightly waxed piece, you are probably going to want to put a top coat first of some kind. Now you can use, if you're doing a piece that you don't want or need gator hide on, you can use clear wax, okay? So you could put the clear wax on your piece first, just like I did this, the satin top coat. You can use this as your top coat and for your first coat. Then you can go back with your colored waxes and play with it. And then you would still be able to get it off easier than if you put it right on the chalky finish. So I am going to show you that real quickly. Okay. I'm going to start out with, I'm going to do black, and I'm going to do it on the top coated side and on the uncoated side. Let me dry this really quickly so we don't have an issue with the. Now again, I'm only drying this for the video. If I were doing this for a piece that I was going to use, I would wait 24 hours before I would do anything to the top coat. Okay, you want it to dry naturally. Gator hide is water-based. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with the black. And I use a chip brush to put on my wax. And as you can see, it's been well used. I don't wash it. It just stays like this. It stays soft. You want to dip it into your wax. Okay. I'm going to start with the side that doesn't have a top coat. And I'm just going to put the wax in the cracks. Now, this is only if you want this kind of look. You could just paint it on just like we did to start, and it's still a beautiful finish. But I'm wanting to put mine in the cracks here to kind of give it an aged look. And I'm kind of over waxing it just to give you an idea of what happens when you use it on the unsealed paint. Okay, so that's on that. Now, after you put the wax on, you're going to take a clean cloth, dry, clean cloth, and you're going to wipe it back. Now, like I said before, because we're putting this on unsealed chalk paint, it's a little harder to wipe off the wax, which is how I did my bathroom. Like I said, my bathroom was not sealed, but I wanted it to have more of a grungy look to it. Okay, I don't know if you can see what I'm doing here, but and you know, even though this paint is not cured and it's just barely dry, no paint is coming up off of this, and I am pressing down pretty darn hard to get this wax off. Lisa, if you try the product, you will not regret it. Okay, so can you see? Okay, so it's darker in the cracks, and it's a little bit just kind of a grayish color on here. And you can see the difference between this end. I'm trying to get the light just right. Sorry. This end, it doesn't have the wax, and this end does. Okay? Now, I'm going to do white wax down here because I think I used to not like white wax. I don't know. I just didn't like the way it looked. But I have slowly become a fan. So again, I'm using a chip brush, and I'm using our white wax. Okay? I know it's all backwards, but I can't flip it. Okay. So now I'm going to do the white wax on the unsealed part down here in this other corner. And you know, if you have a piece that you see in a thrift store that really nobody, like, that's why they priced this one so cheap. Nobody wanted it. It was really not in good shape. But I'm pretty handy with a screwdriver and glue, so I got it to work. But if you find a piece that's really cheap that you don't mind messing up, it's the best way to practice. Grab it, take it home, get your paint, and just start. You can always, because Dixie Belle products are all water-based, you can just paint over it. So you can redo it as many times as you want. And then you can practice stripping and strip it if you want to and get down to the wood. That way when you go to do your actual piece, you're not worried so much about ruining it and losing out on the whatever money you put into it. And that's why I chose to do this, because I knew that these doors were not going to be used for anything, so I'm going to use them to practice. Okay, so there's the white. It is a different look, but I have to say I'm starting to really like it. Tony, you'll love your, and you know, when you're doing a kitchen, it can be very intimidating, but I've done a few kitchens, and the secret to it is to just take it in little bites when you first start out. Start with one area and do it, then move on to another area. You know, it's a big job. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a lot of work. But in the end, you're going to sit back and look at it, and you're going to be so proud that you're the one who did that. I'm telling you. It is, and it's very economical transformation. Okay. Now, I'm going to now do, sorry guys, I'm just knocking everything off the table. I'm going to use the black wax on the side that, I've only got a few minutes. I'm going to use the black wax on the side that I sealed to show you the difference and how easy it is to take it off. Okay. All right. So again, I'm just going to go in the cracks. And grunge it up. I remember a friend of mine, Wendy, she's actually on here watching, the first time I was showing her how to wax, and I started slapping it on the piece. She was like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "You have to trust the process. You have to trust the process, okay? Because it's got to look ugly before it looks better." So there's the black wax just slapped on, okay? And get my rag. I tell you, I just love this look. This really makes me want to redo my kitchen. I've already painted it once with another product, and it's held up for years, but it's a brown espresso color, and I think it's time for an update. What do y'all think? If y'all start your kitchen, I'll start my kitchen. Okay, now let me show you the difference. Okay, this side here was waxed. I hope you can see this. Okay, someone's asking me about this is the black wax on an unsealed piece. Okay, this is on top of unsealed paint. This is on the sealed paint. Do you see the difference? Okay, I mean, I was almost able to get all of the black off of the flat surfaces instead of over here where this is a little bit more grungy. Okay, sometimes people like to have it look like this more, so you want to use it, you can use it on unsealed. Now you can get this look on a sealed piece, but you just need to sometimes work it a little bit, leave a little bit on there. But I find that if you want this look, it's a lot easier to get this look without sealing it first. And this is what you get when you seal it first. Isn't that beautiful? Do you have to seal if you do wax first? The wax in itself is a sealer. You do not have to. Now, if you were going to do something that's heavily used or might get water, or like in a kitchen where you're going to have heat, I would want to put Gator Hide over the top of it. Okay? Now, I'm going to do the white real quick, and then we're going to wrap this up. And if y'all have any questions, please give a shout, and we'll try and answer them. Now we're going to do the white on the seal side. Okay. And this is just showing you, don't be afraid of the paint. Don't be afraid to try. It's not that hard. I know, we retailers that do this day in and day out, I think sometimes we take for granted that people don't know how to do this stuff. But really, that's what these videos are for, is to show you that we are here for you. And you can find your local retailer, give them a call, ask them questions. Okay, so this is just a very subtle. There, you see it? There's the white wax on the sealed piece. And there's the white wax on the unsealed side. And you can kind of see that the white has gripped some of the paint. So it's kind of muted the paint down a little bit, so it's not quite as bright. So that's your sealed side with your black over here and your white. And this is the unsealed white wax and black wax. Okay? So, I hope everybody learned something tonight. I had a lot of fun. If you have any questions, I will be happy to answer them after I log out. If you are in the Jacksonville area, please come see my booth at Antiques for You at 801 Blanding Boulevard. I'm getting ready to double my space, and so I'm going to have a lot of the newer products. I'm going to start carrying some of the transfers, molds, the new gel stains. Oh, I can't wait to use the new gel stains. I can't wait for them to come in. I hope they come in tomorrow. That's going to be a lot of fun. So stay tuned. Brush by Brandy is coming on next. She's always got great videos. You don't want to miss it. And I'm so happy that everybody joined me today. It's only my third video, and getting more used to it. So thank you so much for joining me, and everybody have a great night.